You happy?
I reckon, yeah.
Contenders, ready! Hey monkeys, how you doing? Damian Keys here. Welcome to the hashtags, my new thing. Ask Damo show number 37?
Yeah, alright.
37. Show where you get to ask questions about anything music related, social media related, business related, and we will do our best to answer them. And if we don't know something, then we will go and find someone who does. With me as always is Melissa.
Hey.
How's your week?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. How's
Good.
yours?
Very good, look.
Oh, nice.
Loving the
nice
accent.
t-shirt.
Fantastic, loving it. So we've got prezzies.
We have got presents.
Amazing.
So I'm very excited to know what these are.
Absolutely. If you've got stuff, if you've got merch, if you've got CDs, if you've got stuff that you want to promote,
send it in.
It's the place. It's the place. Wow, it's a letter.
Oh.
I can't read, so... Oh, that's a really lovely picture. Look at that.
Oh, I love that.
It's a really happy man.
It's a happy face. Here's a copy of my debut self-titled EP that was released April 2017.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome. Here's my bio.
I love
Let
it.
you read that later.
Do you know what's
on.
great as well? This kind of sort of...
Oh, I've never seen that before. That's really cool. I like that.
Almost kind of recyclable CD
Yeah.
stuff. That is very, very cool.
Awesome. That's from Jake Spicer.
Well done, Jake. Absolutely
That's
brilliant.
really
We're
cool.
going to have a listen to this. We're going to get this on the wall. We're going to put a link down below. Everyone should check out Jake, and they should go and be his friend on Facebook and whatever you can find him on. I don't know if that's in focus, but you can see it. So everyone be his friend, and let's get this community. Everyone be everyone's friend, and this will start to grow. We can help each other. Great job.
Awesome. Yeah.
Woo!
Every time.
Another one. It's a big one. Let's try another one. Right. Ooh, this has got lots of stuff in. One for you.
A ladder. Hey Damo, just a quick note to say hi and introduce myself. My name's Luke. I've been subscribed to your YouTube channel for a few months now. Put a couple of copies of a CD in.
Yeah, got some CD.
Awesome.
Brilliant. Oh, this is cool.
The
The Salt of the Earth. Luke, this is brilliant. Thank you so much.
That's really cool. Nice one.
I love the graphics. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So this is going to be listened to. It's going to go on the wall. We're going to put a link down below. Again, if you can get enough focus on that, go and check out Luke. Go and listen to his music. Go and be his friend on anything you can find. And let's get this community building.
Cool posters.
Very cool. We'll
Yeah.
get one of these posters on the wall somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where, but we're going to find more space.
We always find space.
We always find space. Whee! We'll put that over there. So some business to take care of before we start. This is important. So in case you haven't seen or haven't heard, my book is nearly finished, and I had got a very, very amazing designer who's designed loads and loads of proper album covers that you'll have in your record collection, like massive, big deal.
Oh, cool.
And he was designing it, and he's amazing. He's won loads of awards, but I just thought, there's something that's not right. It's not the graphic or the design's not right, and I just thought, it's the fact that I'm telling people about the story and the journey and how we're getting involved together and building relationships, and I didn't feel like I was doing it.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what I really want to work on the book cover with some of you guys.
Yeah.
And the best thing with this is there's no rules.
Yeah.
I don't need someone to design something magical. It can be a photo, it can be art, it can be a picture, it can be just something that's just visually cool. Because one thing I've learned is with book covers, I'm not talking about fiction, but with book covers, on the whole, 100% of them pretty much have shit covers.
Yeah.
They're just rubbish.
Yeah.
You know, and you just look at them going, why would I buy this?
I want to see like creativity.
Yeah, and creativity can be in the form of anything. It doesn't need to be beautiful art. And I had this idea of a stick man with a megaphone.
Yeah.
Or an avocado, just a picture of an avocado.
Well, everyone loves avocados.
Yeah, well, exactly. And why does everyone love avocados? Because of social media. Big bit in the book about avocados and how there's now 300 million pictures of avocados posted to Instagram every single day. That's 2,000 a minute.
So good. That's
Why?
so funny.
Because Instagram now is the most important thing in the world when it comes to fruit. 5 years ago, who gave a shit?
Yeah.
Nobody. Instagram did that. Amazing. So yeah, if you want to design my book cover, then there's a video on my YouTube, youtube.com/DamianKeys. While you're there, if you can subscribe to the YouTube, that would be fantastic. Should we get on with the show?
Yeah. All right.
Questions.
Okay, so the first one is quite an interesting one. So what are your thoughts on PPL and PRS registered if you want to try and get your music used featured on TV, knowing that production companies do generally prefer you to be registered? Is it worth the cost? I mean, if you have possible contacts, is it better to go via them, especially if you're happy just to get the extra exposure rather than payment?
Wow, okay, long question. So effectively, PRS. So let's just have a very quick breakdown of what we're talking about here. PRS, which is not to be confused for PPL, which is not one of those things that people phone up and ask about. Are you eligible for PPL?
Yeah.
You get your money back. Different thing to that.
Yeah.
And also there's MCPS. Three very separate organisations.
Yeah, lots of letters.
For a lot of musicians, PRS being the main one.
Yeah.
So very, very quickly from a PRS point of view, that deals with the songwriting and the composers of who's written a track, the composition and the lyrics. And so when that's played, PRS is the company that effectively collects all that and distributes it. They distribute £500 million of money to musicians, to composers and lyricists every single year. So they're doing a great job with doing that. Then you've got PPL. Now PPL is slightly different because that's more the performers.
Yeah.
So there was back in the day.
Which was a Tuesday.
Yeah, why not? Back in the day, it was all about PRS and it was all about songwriters. And so what you'd have is like 4 people in a band. One person would be driving a Ferrari and everyone else would be living in a bedsit.
Yeah.
And then PPL started 20 odd years ago, I think, and that was more for the actual performers on records. So if you played bass on it, you didn't write it, but you played bass on it, then you were due some money effectively. So very, very simple. And then you've got MCPS. The difference of MCPS isn't the performers, it isn't the composition. MCPS is the actual copied music. So if it goes onto a vinyl,
copy,
the mechanicals. If it goes onto a CD, if it goes onto vinyl, those are the three sort of types of organisation that you get back as a money. You get money back as a musician. If you are playing venues, then at some point you will be eligible for some money.
Yeah.
The key is when are you going to sign up for it? Now, I am slightly torn on this because this is time, effort, and energy that you're putting into trying to set up your PRS, paying £100 because it costs £100 for it, and if you're not going to get that back within a year, then is there much point in doing it? But there is another part of me which is I got my first YouTube royalty check, and it was like, it's not for a lot, but it's just a feeling of inspiration. It's just like, oh my God, I've worked so hard and I get something back for it. It doesn't matter whether it's £5 or loads of money. It's just nice to go, oh my God, this actually made me some money. Even though this, as a musician in a band, this is how much time and effort and money you put into your project. And then when you start getting money back, and this is the amount of money you get back. But it does feel like it's a kind of start. It feels like you're on the road to it. So we went on the PRS website. PRS website is fantastic, and PRS are a very, very helpful company for musicians. I'm a big fan of them. I might even try and do a bit more of an in-depth video over the next couple of weeks and get hold of someone from PRS to go into a bit more detail because it's not my strength. But there's some really good information on the website, on PRS website. And here's some examples of what you would need to do to pay back that £100 signing on fee. So if you get one play on BBC One Primetime, that roughly will pay off your £100. If you get 6 plays on Sky One, if you get 2 plays on ITV or 3 plays on Channel 4, if you get 5 plays on BBC non-primetime, for most of this audience, this is a big one, 150 independent plays on local radio. So quite a lot. About 200 plays on MTV Music Channel. Sounds like a lot. And then from a live point of view, if you're doing small scale venues, and by that I don't just mean you're playing down the Dog and Duck, unless they're registered on the PRS site, they don't count. But if they are and you're playing there, then around about 12 small scale venues that you can actually say that you played there and fill out a PRS form, or 2 or 3 big size venues. Now we were looking into big-ish size venues. The example they used on the website was Barrowlands, which is I think about 2,000 capacity venue, might be a bit smaller, but about the sort of the academy size,
Yeah,
the O2
like
academy
I do,
size,
yeah.
I think is about what it is. So if you're starting to do any of those things, then all of a sudden you start to become a bit more eligible to start making some money back.
And it's cool because it does feel like some of those things are doable. Like, you know,
Absolutely.
they're quite like a big goal, but definitely like manageable.
Absolutely. And should you get a single which does start getting features on some mainstay radio stations, then you are going to be in for some money.
Yeah.
And you need, at that point, there's nothing worse than being owed money that you can't get or you're not getting. So, if it's out there and it's got your name on it, then you want to be collecting it. Absolutely. I remember when I did the radio show at Juice, every night we'd have to fill out a form of the songs that we played, and it was literally pen and paper, and we'd leave it on the desk. These are the songs that we played, and then that got sent away so that those artists would actually potentially be eligible. Now, most of the music that we played was unsigned, and it wasn't signed to publishing, and it wasn't signed to a label, so it was mostly bands do it themselves. But if they had signed up, some of those bands would have had that 150 plays over a period of a year or two from us as a radio show, because we were doing 3 to 4 hours a night, 4 days a week. So we were doing a lot of airtime, and in order to fill up that time, you need a lot of music. So I mean, so like you said, there is hope that a lot of people who are watching this going, actually, I can start making some money back doing that.
And if you got into like a radio show like the one you were doing, and you got paid that amount, then you'd be fine. You'd already be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, if you do, and so there's bands out there that do quite a lot of support tours. In fact, some bands that I know of actually have done almost arena/stadium level support tours, but it's not their audience. They're the support band. But that's kept them going for the entire year, because they're playing, if you're playing an arena or even a couple of stadiums on the back of another massive, like you go on tour with the Foo Fighters, you're not the Foo Fighters, you don't get the bulk of the money, but I tell you what, you'll get a hell of a lot of money from that.
A chunk of it,
Absolutely, you'll get a lot of money from that system. So it's very much worth signing up for it. But at the same point, let's be realistic. This is another one of those things that when YouTube changed its algorithm a couple of weeks back, the amount of people that went, oh, it's rubbish, you're not looking after us musicians. And I was thinking, you miles off getting any money.
Yeah.
Miles off. So at the moment, let's not worry about it until we are starting to do some of those things.
Yeah.
At the moment, the crux, the be all and end all is how do we get to that point? So, when we were setting up BIM, one of the things I used to say a lot was, I'm not interested in what's in a record deal. I'm interested in how to get one of these.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. Now, years later, I'm maybe not even interested in that. But it's more about how you're going to get something rather than what's the mechanicals of it. So how are we going to get to a point where we are actually making some money back? But it goes to show that in this day and age, there are ways where you've got stuff like, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, royalty music, even playing pubs nowadays. There are ways of making money. So I think at some point a second or even third book is going to be on the cards, which is going to be called The Rule Breaker's Guide to Making Money as a Musician. I think that will be a thing, because there's so many ways. The problem with it is there's so many ways of making small amounts of money. But when all of those things start to blow up, you can see how all of a sudden you think, wow, I can quit my job. I can do that. So yeah, good question, and I will do something with a bit more detail where I bring in a specialist hopefully from PRS, and we can chat about a bit more detail on it.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
So, question 2 from Kira. I've noticed way more Instagram adverts on my feed than normal. Is there a reason it's increased?
Yes, there is, because Facebook own Instagram, and Facebook changed their algorithm. And my Instagram, I'm not, everyone who knows me knows that Instagram up until recently hasn't been something that,
it's not your favourite.
It's not, but it's going to have to be now.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be my favourite. And this is, I'm putting it out there, there's a lot of people who are bitching and moaning about Facebook because of the change of algorithm. And what's going to happen is it's going to change Instagram because all of a sudden, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
That's what I call him.
Good old Zuck.
Zucks. But he wants it to be more friends and family. So loads of people watching this right now are going, yeah, I've noticed with my Facebook, I might be getting 10 to 20% of the reach that I was getting just 2 weeks ago. You probably found the same.
Yeah, I've been one of the people moaning.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Because Zucks is just saying, I know, but I don't want to market. No more marketing. Let's just keep it to this community, friends and family. But why? Because of the supply and demand of adverts. So, for example, if you build an audience and you've got 1,000 people on your Facebook, and when you put out a piece of content, you get 100 people who see it, and you're like, well, what about the other 900?
Yeah.
Then you've got two choices: they don't see it, or you pay for it. So everyone says fine. Instead of, and then what happens is, instead of that 100 people, all of a sudden 30 people out of your 1,000 people, and you're like, oh, I've spent all of this time, effort, and money building up my audience, and now 30 out of 1,000 people are seeing it. I'm going to have to boost a post. So then you start putting your money into boosting posts. Of course, everyone starts doing that. What happens? The price goes up, because it's literally supply and demand. So if everyone's going, well, I want to advertise, there's only so much advertising space on Facebook.
Yeah.
So we can't have every single post being a Facebook ad. So if 10 times the amount of people decide to put more money into advertising, Facebook says, well, it's still the same amount of adverts, or relatively. So therefore, the only thing that can happen is the price point goes up.
Yeah.
So whereas it was costing £10 for 1,000, it might get to a point where it's £10 for 300.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you're getting a lot less bang for your buck. You're getting a lot less money for doing it.
And will less people being willing to pay more, so it keeps less people advertising overall.
Yeah. So what will happen? This is just economics. This is not social media. But with economics, the way that will work is it will force the price point up, which will force you out of the market, because you'll be like, well, I'm not paying £10 for 10 people to see it. It's not worth it. Whereas cornflakes probably will. They'll just go, oh, fine, we'll just pay it. And so it has been underpriced, and now it's probably going to be, for what we do, overpriced.
Yeah.
For some companies not, but for us it'll become overpriced as musicians, which will then do two things. It will force the bigger brands to actually take over a lot more of the advertising space on Facebook, which will then piss us off, which will then force us to go elsewhere. So we'll start looking around for the next attention platform, which at the moment, when you look at the landscape and you say, okay, well, Snapchat's literally just been thrown out, and Facebook are doing this. YouTube is a very different beast. You look across and you go, it's Instagram. Instagram is the biggest at the moment, and Instagram has got that organic reach. But because of that, everyone's gone, well, I'm not getting the same traction on Facebook. I'll go to Instagram. What does that mean? Well, what it means is everyone's starting to advertise on Instagram, and it's not just sponsored posts. I am seeing so many more Instagram sponsored posts, but then in between the sponsored posts, I'm seeing that clumsy advertising that people have always been allowed to get away with on Facebook, which now being done on Instagram. But Instagram consumption won't stand for it the same as Facebook, because Facebook, it's just one of those rules. It's been around forever. It's a monster. Instagram is so much more about the pretty and the organic. The last thing that I want is every third post to be someone saying, come and see my band, buy my single. After all,
it just wouldn't work.
Bore off.
Like crumble.
Absolutely. And it's got to be more subtle, and it's got to be less clumsy than Facebook advertising. And at the moment it's not. People are just picking up their clumsy marketing ideas from Facebook, going across to Instagram and saying, I'm just going to sell to you. So every time it's just like, buy my book, buy my CD, buy my single, go here, do this. That is not what Instagram has always been about. And so I think one thing that will do then is potentially even open the door for the next social media platform at some point. Talking about Vine 2 coming back. But if you think about it, there's always going to be a new platform that comes around. Because I remember the day when all of a sudden my mum and dad were on Facebook. No offense, mum and dad. But when they were on Facebook, and I was like, that's weird. And all of a sudden then your grand's on Facebook, and you're like, I'm literally mullered in this shop. And so you start going, that's not quite cool. It's the same thing as when you're a kid and you go to a pub. If your parents and your grandparents turn up to that pub while you're there with your mates, what do? You go find another pub. And then you're in a pub, and you're at a college, and you're in the cool pub, and then you get a bit older, and all the next year come in, and the next year, and the next year. All of a sudden you're 3 or 4 years older, and you're like, I don't really fit into this pub anymore. What do? You find the next pub. It's the same thing.
I think there's new platforms.
There's the same thing with social media. What will happen is the people are coming through going, I don't want to be on that platform because there's too much advertising and marketing if they don't sort it out, or just because or because something new and exciting comes along. And it's at that point you've got to get on it, and you've got to go for it. And I think that's really, really important. And so at the moment what we're seeing is the start of clumsy advertising and marketing on Instagram. We're seeing the start of this economics where Facebook is starting to outprice itself for musicians. And make no bones about it, Facebook has been the best way of promoting your band. Does Mark Zuckerberg give any kind of shit?
No.
None. Like, why would he give a toss about that? He don't care about your unsigned band. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about some very small local independent coffee shop trying to find its way. He doesn't care. He wants Facebook to be about the however many 1 billion people, or I think it's 2.2 billion people that are on Facebook. 2.2 billion people. I mean, it's like, it's a percentage, it's like a massive percentage of the entire world. He doesn't care about the low-end level bands or low-end level businesses. Should he? No. Because it's still Facebook's house, Facebook's rules, and Facebook's business. If you don't like it, then what we do is we say, oh, we can't afford that anymore. You know, TV, oh, can't afford that anymore. Let's go and do something else. And there will be other ways of doing it. I'm a big fan of YouTube, and there's a lot of people watching that. I look at your Facebook and I go, wow, this is really, really good. And then when we do Skypes, I go onto your YouTube and I go, oh no, I can see a problem. And if your Facebook is here and your YouTube is here, where do you get judged? Here. Because people go, that's rubbish. If you've got a lot of crappy videos on your YouTube, then you look unprofessional. It's got to be across the board. And YouTube is so, so good for bands. So good for creatives. It's the perfect platform. But you can't be lazy. You've got to be putting content out a lot, and it's got to be good content, and it's got to be edited, and it's got to be videoed, and it's got to be well lit, and it's hard work. But it's a great platform. But I think everyone's turning to Instagram, which is why your feeds are now turning into Advert Central. But one last point on this. Do you know what's driving me nuts is I don't usually go onto Facebook as a person. I'm not a consumer of Facebook. But I'm starting to get adverts pop up in both my, well, not that I use that, but my personal Facebook page, but also my profile page, where I'm starting to get an advert popped up. Yeah, it's annoying. Facebook are just pushing that. So that might be a thing that carries on, but...
Do you think with Instagram there might be a chance that they'll start filtering out what you're allowed to advertise? You know, that it might start getting checked so that it fits in with the kind of Instagram aesthetic?
I think what's more likely is... From a policing point of view, I think what's more likely is this supply and demand. Is they'll look at it and go, right, everyone's spending money on advertising, so either the advertising price will go up, or people will start getting really bored of blatant, obvious adverts, and they'll just stop following it. Because if you think about Instagram is the biggest engagement. So you can be putting out content on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Where will you get the most amount of easy engagement? It's always Instagram, because you get lots more likes. So you might have 1,000 people who follow you on Instagram, and every time you put out a picture, you might be getting 50 to 100 likes. That's 5 to 10%. Whereas you could have 1,000 people on Facebook, and you might be getting 3 to 5. So it's a very different ratio. So, Instagram is the perfect marketing place. It's just people are being too clumsy about it.
Cool. All right, so question 3 from Christopher. What's the best way to recruit bandmates? I have a drummer, I'm the guitarist, we're getting a full set of demos ready, but I need a singer, bassist, and another guitarist. So what's the best way to go about recruiting? Thanks in advance and much love from the States.
Nice. Love from the States. I want to go back to the States. Okay, so when it comes to recruiting bandmates, I think a big part of this is finding the right people who fit. I mean, you've had this, trying to find musicians.
Getting that chemistry as well as someone that can just play.
Absolutely. So, and it's difficult, especially when one of the things he said is trying to find a bass player. Yeah,
because they don't exist.
Singers and bass players are just so hard to find, and there's a real thing at the moment where, as a bass player myself, we're becoming extinct.
Like, where do you guys live? Like I go to a music uni and I don't know any bassists.
It's scary. It was always the case that bass players aren't very readily available because there aren't many of them. But if you think about the grand scale of music, when was the last great bass player? Like, when you think about when I was a kid growing up and the bass players who were around that you could just aspire to, and I was growing up and I used to love Mark King and Billy Sheehan, the musical and I was a techno head, so I used to love like John Mayung from Dream Theater, and but they were just, even from the bands that I was in, like with Metallica and Megadeth, and Dave Ellefson was a great pick player, and there was just so many bass players to really aspire to. You fast forward now, and who goes, do you know who I want to be? Bass player from Coldplay. Like, who's that guy? I don't know that guy. That guy could walk in now and I'd be like, all right, mate? Like, no idea. And so there aren't, the last one was, I mean, as a bass player, Chris Wolstenholme from Muse.
Yeah.
Muse have been around for like how long? I mean, Muse have been around for what, 75 years? Like that guy's 100 years old. So he's not. But like, you
I
know.
was thinking that up.
But when these bass players are coming through, so it's very, very difficult. Very difficult to find a bass player. When it comes to recruiting, it depends where you are. Because if you're in a city, you shouldn't really have too much of a problem. If you're in Brighton, there are musicians everywhere. The hardest part there is it comes back to that cutting through the noise. One thing I used to do is go on to the chats, the forums of colleges to actually start chatting to people. Singers, I'd go down to open mic nights. But a big thing you can do as well is I'd start hanging around at gigs. Where do musicians hang around? They hang around at gigs. And so starting to actually network with people that can say, you don't know any bass players, do you? And they go, oh, I might know someone. And then you talk to a bass player and he goes, no, I'm not available, but why don't you try this guy? And it goes, and it is work. But the key is this for me. This is the golden nugget of information. The musicians are out there, and musicians are fickle. Yes, we are. We are fickle. If the Red Hot Chili Peppers come knocking on the door and say, do you want to be in the Red Hot Chili Peppers? You say, yes. It's just the way it works. You don't go, actually, I'm really proud of my band. I want to. You just go, oh, well, let's step up. We are fickle musicians. We want to play stadiums. We want to make millions of pounds from standing on stage playing music. So musicians will always be attracted to a band or project that is further along than they are in such. And so one thing that you can do is make sure that the project is always progressing forwards. And the rule is this: we are going to make this work with or without you. If someone feels like that's going to happen, if someone feels like that band is going with or without them, it will be with them. It's the way it is. Because bass players will have time to jump into a second project because they'll be like, I don't really want them to go and see them go off and do those things, and I'm not there, but I can carry on doing my band and maybe I'll help out. So, you know, and this is the perfect time to do that because it is so cheap to record. So you can record tracks without a bass player, or you can bring in a singer and say, look, do me a favor, sing on this, so people can see that it's got momentum. That momentum word is so important. If all of a sudden people are hearing about this project, people are seeing it, all of a sudden people are like, something's happening. I want to be a part of something that's cool. I want to be a part of something that's relevant and something that's happening. So therefore, they're more likely to jump into it. What I see far too many times is people going, oh, I've approached 200 musicians and none of them are interested. Why? Because there's 200 musicians that probably would be interested if the band was good enough and had the momentum for them to join it. Because if the band was saying, oh yeah, we've got a tour coming up of the O2 Academies, but our bass player's left, who wants to come and join us? How many bass players are you going to ask? One. And how many bass players are going to say yes? That guy. It's just the way it is. So what people are doing is they're stopping and they go, I'll get everything ready and I'll get the musicians and then we'll put it together and then we'll go for it. The problem then is there's too many options, there's too many people, there's too many bands being put together that then all of a sudden it's just too much noise out there. Your best bet is to say, I'm taking control of this. I'm going to go and write songs. If I'm not the writer, I'm going to go and find someone that's going to help me so that we've got something. If then I'm not the singer, I don't have a singer, I'm going to go and find someone. If you say to any singer, do you fancy coming in the studio and recording some songs for free? Most of them will say yes. Most of them will go, oh my God, that sounds so much fun. Because everybody wants to go in the studio, it's fun. I've had that loads of times where, like not so long back, a friend of mine rang me up and said, I'm working on this album with this artist. Do you want to come and play on it? And I was like, I'm on the way. He's like, I don't have any money. And I was like, I don't care. I was like, I want to play on the album. That sounds really fun. Like, that's what we do. It's fun to be a musician. We don't do this for the money. We do this because we want to make money, but we do this because we love it. Because if I get to go and play on an album, that's cool. If I get to go and play on stage in front of 1,000 people, that's cool. Like those are the things that we want to do.
People buzzed for it.
Absolutely. So you've got to get that momentum flowing. So if you are approaching people and they're saying, oh, send me some stuff, I'll have a look at it, and they're not interested, then you've got to make them interested by making them more excited. You've got to create that momentum and create that buzz.
Okay.
And
Cool.
then go and approach colleges
Yeah.
and rehearsal rooms, hang around. Where do musicians hang out? Where's the
Yeah.
consumption? Where's the attention for musicians? The musicians hang around music shops. They hang around rehearsal rooms. They hang around gigs. They hang around open mics. Go and hang around there and just talk to people and just meet people, and don't go in just being like, do you want to join my band? Just say, I saw you play tonight. It was really, really good. Can I add you on Facebook? And then you add them on Facebook, and then you have a chat with them, and then you say, do me a favour, we're down a bass player for this recording. Would you mind just jumping in and recording for us? Bass player goes, yeah. Then all of a sudden, he's much more likely to join your band.
Yeah, because like once you've got that product, it's actually quite easy to go and find people as long as you know where to
Absolutely.
look. Okay.
Totally.
Cool. And our last question's from Baron.
Mm-hmm.
What are some techniques to convert people who happen upon you at gigs into Ardent fans? You know, beyond a killer live show. So, any advice on talking to the audience between tunes?
Great. Baron Goodlove is brilliant. By the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen his
No,
stuff.
I don't.
You should check out.
Yeah.
Baron Goodlove is. I love his stuff. He's
Okay,
brilliant.
awesome.
He's just got such a great voice as well.
I'll check him out.
So what are the techniques to convert people who happen upon you at gigs to Ardent fans? So how are we going to make a super fan, or how are we going to create someone past interest into a fan? And any advice on talking to the audience between tunes? So two slightly different things, but they do go together because how many guys you know? Loads. How many guys you hang around with? Loads. When it comes to finding a boyfriend, you don't just treat them all the same. You develop a relationship. You spend more time with them. You put more time and effort into that relationship, and it grows and grows and grows. So it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same with the audience. It's about providing value, but it's also about doing things for them and loving them so that they love you.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of this. It's actually making people just say, "Oh, you're so good to us.
Yeah.
You look
setting
after
up that
us."
relationship.
And what bands do is they just say, "It's about me.
Yeah.
It's about me because it's my band and my music, and I want to do this." And a lot of times that'll work because people go, "Oh, I love your band. It's really, really good." But how do you actually just look after someone? I think a big part of this is what value you give to them. So, going back a little bit to the Facebook algorithm, I think this is going to crop up a lot. One of the bits of advice I would give is now probably a bit less content but higher quality.
Yeah.
Which is weird because this is how social media can change something, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh, all of the information that we had is now slightly changed." I don't want to be just throwing stuff out because people are going to see it and start to engage with it. All of a sudden, I need to actually have a little bit more higher quality stuff, which is shareable and likable. So maybe I need to take a little bit more time on it. Not loads. We can't spend weeks and weeks on something.
Yeah.
But when you're doing that, when you're making that killer content, everything should be going out there, which should be, how is this going to look after the audience? That value thing to me is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Is it going to look after the audience? And if you put something out and you just say, "Our single's out," it's kind of value because people want to hear your new music, but there's so many things that you can do with social media to look after your audience, to do things for them that nobody else will do. But people don't want to put in the time. People don't want to be as creative.
Yeah.
People don't want to put on a free gig. So imagine, but those are things you can do.
Yeah.
If you really, really, when people say, "Man, it's not about the money," you say, "Good. In that case, go and do a free gig."
Yeah.
Woo! So go and do a free gig and find somewhere that you can do a free gig, or pay for the tickets yourself, just because you want to look after certain fans and say, "Yes, it's a paid event, but I'm gonna give you 10 free tickets, not because you're friends or family, because we believe in you the most. We want to look after you, just as a one-off." Doing something which is personal and sending it to them, making videos which are a bit more one-to-one. There's so many ways that you can create a much better relationship. But what people do is they don't think about one-to-one, they think about the whole thing. So you go, "Well, my audience is 1,000 people, so how can I talk to 1,000 people at once?" Instead of thinking, how can I talk to you, like right now? Like, how can I actually get this message to you? Someone who's there saying, "I'm doing this, I want to grow my audience. How am I getting that message across to that one person?" And so I think it just comes down to value, which comes down to creativity and hard work. Here's a couple of examples. Go on Instagram, right? Instagram's my new email now. So from here on in, everything I do will just go through Instagram, because I'm recognizing the Facebook thing and I want more people to come through. So I can't talk to people on Facebook because it's too blocked up.
Yeah.
You want to talk to me? Come and talk to me on Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah.
Those are the two ways. You want to talk to me? I'll be there. and I'm in the room. But again, that one-to-one. But here's an example. Go on Instagram and take 3 hours of your night and just start talking to people who you've seen have engaged. Okay. Just send them a message and just say, I've seen that you just have engaged with a few of my pictures and I just wanted to say thanks. And, I love doing what I do and I wanted to just share the love and say thank you because I've noticed that you follow me on my journey. It's really important. How many people watching do that? None. Yeah. I mean, they might do it once every so often to one person, but spend time doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is how you build a relationship. It's the same thing as anything in life. If you want to build an actual human relationship, you don't stand up in a room and go, "Who wants to be my friend?" Like and then go, "Well, all of you should be my friends." It doesn't work like that. We've got to delve deeper. It takes time, effort. It doesn't take money. It doesn't. Like the thing is people are talking about, well, in which case I have to put out better content and I have to get a better quality camera and stuff. No, you don't. Just go on Instagram and say hello. Yeah. Literally start talking to people. Yeah. Start chatting to people. Start saying, I've released these songs. I know you've liked the stuff I've been doing. Which was your favourite? Because I'm looking at maybe writing the next batch of songs and I'm looking at which way I'm going to go. I want to get your thoughts on stuff. Stuff like this.
Get conversations
This I don't have to do this. I can design something myself. I've got an in-house design team. I can literally walk into that room and say, design me a book cover, and it will be done. But that's not the point. Yeah. The point of this is because I want to talk to you. I want to work with you. I want to do stuff with you. I want to create opportunities for you, and then I want to be able to be proud of what it is, and I am. I'm really proud that every day people want to message these questions. Yeah. I'm really proud that I'm creating something that people just message me and say, "Yeah, I've been watching some of your videos," and I'm like, "You don't have to do that." Yeah. I appreciate it so much that I want to do more stuff, and I'm talking about what other stuff can we? Let's do a podcast. Let's do something else. I want to do like a chart where I'm actually doing a top 10 chart per week, where I can actually feature some of your videos and actually say these are my top 10 bands of the week, and do it every single week. Why? Because it's cool. It's a cool thing to do, and it's because I can provide you value. Because if I can get another 300 people to watch that, and then say, "Oh, I saw this other band actually, which I really liked," and then you get another fan for it, then I feel like I've done my job a little bit better. So it's time, it's effort, it's creativity, it's massive creativity. It doesn't take money. It doesn't need to anyway. It can just be go and find people and talk to them, have conversations, allocate periods of your time when you've got an audience of 1,000 people on your Facebook or especially your Instagram now. Then there it is, right there. That's how you look after them.
Yeah, and also like when someone makes you feel valued, you just want to stick with it, don't you, and keep following them.
When someone posts like a review on my Facebook, I'm just like, ooh. Yeah. Like, that takes time.
I'm not crying.
That's not just that's not a like. Yeah. It's not just like, oh, cheers, dude. That's someone going, I'm taking time out of my day because I appreciate you to go and do that. And
it's nice to appreciate them back. It's
amazing. So how do you do it? You give them you is what you do. You give them you, and you give them your time, and you give them what they want, which is you and your time. Yeah. Simple as that.
Awesome. And that was the last question.
That was good love from Baron Good Love. Amazing. So, if you've got stuff for the wall, you need to send it through. I want people to get involved with this. Honestly, you don't need to be. If you've seen my art, right, I cannot draw anything. Like anything. But that's not the point. The point is to do something that just goes, that's kind of fun, or that's nice. It's just something, and I want to put them on the wall, and I want to feature them, and I want to. And if you send stuff in, I'm more likely to notice your band, and I'm more likely to talk about your band, and I'm more likely to just get involved because that's what a community is. You put in the love, I'll put it right back again. So get involved in this. Do something. Just take a picture of something and send it in, and it might get used for the book. Yeah. Who knows? So otherwise, if you can do me a favor and. Instagram and YouTube are the big things. So if you're on Instagram and you want to hit me up, or just go and follow my Instagram and send me some love. YouTube especially, I'm nearly at the 2,000 mark, and I'm really excited. So if you can do me a favor and jump on YouTube and hit the subscribe button there, that would be mondo awesome. So otherwise, send me some stuff, send me some merch, we'll feature it. Go and check out the new Excerpts album because I think it's fantastic, and these boys have been around for a long. This is a classic example of a band who've been around for years and years and years. All of a sudden, it's starting to pop. It's like, oh, how deserved is that?
Yeah, it's so cool.
So have a good week. See you soon.
See you next week.